Okay, so let's look into filtering, searching, and sorting and provide some examples. We've already done a little bit of this already. You remember at the top of the category column, we've entered the word residential to reduce our table to only residential customers. So 18 residential customers. So that's easy, a single column filter. Gets more interesting when you add more columns. So let's suppose that we're interested in all residential customers from the city of Providence. So if we keep this residential filter at the top of the category column and go to the address column and enter the city, now the table is showing only those residential customers from Providence. Nice. Now suppose further that we're interested in only residential customers from Providence that we did some job for last month. Right, it's easy too. We can add another filter at the top of the date column, and you notice this is a from to filter. So we can enter the beginning of the month, to the beginning of the next month. All right, so now we're looking at exactly what we want. Residential customers from Providence that we did some work for last month. Notice the red text at the top of the columns that we've done filtering and sorting with. This is to remind you that you've done something to alter the table. And it's very, very easy to remove these filters. Click the X. And also, we're sorting name column. We can remove this sort by clicking until it turns blue. Okay, the filtering that you can do with the date column is interesting. You can do the range like we showed. We just did the month of December. All right, so now we're looking at all customers that we did work for in the month of December. If we remove the to, we're now looking at all customers that we did work from the beginning of December until now. Similarly, if we just enter an endpoint, say we enter the beginning of December, now we're looking at all customers that we did before the beginning of December. Another way to search and filter is to use this global box at the top. It's a table filter that you can enter multiple keywords into. For example, you might want to find somebody by first and last name. So if I enter Alan Black and search, only Alan Black turns up. If I chose or, if I click on the and, it becomes or. Now I'm looking for all customers with the name Alan or Black, which is probably not what we had intended. Okay, suppose we're trying to find some customer that we did work for. We remember the town, and we think we remember the first name. So we'll clear the search that we already did. And we'll enter Alan and Warwick. So we're looking for somebody called Alan from the town of Warwick that we did work for. And yes, he does show up. And now we have all the detail. Remember now it's Alan Black from XYZ Carpet and so on and so forth. Okay, or maybe we just remember that some customer that we're interested in is in one or two towns. We're not sure which. There's these two towns next to each other. What we could do is just enter these two towns. So let's try, maybe it was in Cranston. If it wasn't Cranston, it's certainly Warwick. We want to change the search to or. Now we're looking at all customers that we did work for from that is in either Cranston or in Warwick. So the table is reduced to only 14 items, so we can look through and find, oh yeah, now I know who it is. It was Alan Black. Okay, one last example. I'll clear the search, and I want to find one of our workers, Joe, had a meeting some time ago, and it was a breakfast meeting. That's all I remember, and I want to find that information. So I enter Joe and breakfast. And hopefully we set up an action item or something recording the fact that this took place. So I do the search. I want to change it to an and filter because I don't want to find all Joes and all breakfasts. I want to find both happen at the same time. We find, all right, it was Joe Kelly, and we don't see the information in any of these columns because this was information that was recorded as notes or something. So if I click on it on the 43 here to get the customer form to pop up, I can see, well, maybe it was an action item. And I see, yeah, there's a breakfast meeting here that Joe took with Jeff Kelly. Great, found the information that we need. You can move on. So we can use the techniques, the searching and filtering techniques that we just learned to create email lists, text lists, address lists, phone lists, and so forth. So let's see an example. Let's say we want to send an email to all the customers, residential customers that we did some job for last month. All right, so we'll start by isolating just the residential customers and choosing the month. So from last December. And now in the Tools menu, at the upper right, we come down and we select Create Email List. So here's a list of the customers from the table. We can delete any of these. So let's delete this customer. So we will send an email to these three customers. So prepare email will bring us to the composer. And we'll notice it's already set up. We've got the email addresses set up. And typically what we do is rather than actually write a fresh email, we use one that we've written before. So we choose from our template of emails. This is what we want to send. And then click send and all three customers will get the same email. Suppose instead what we're really interested in is where are these customers located? So using the same setup here, if we go to the Tools menu and select Show Locations, a map will pop up and show where all these customers are located at. Another option would be to export this information as a file that you can use to upload to a third-party provider like Avery that does postcards, bulk email, labels and such. So if we go to the Tools menu and select Export to Avery Label, we can export this information in a format that that company will accept so that you can just upload the data to them and they will send you postcards or actually send the postcards to your customers for you at a very low price. So it's in the format that they accept, which can be very handy if the list that you have here is quite large. So you can imagine sending postcards to batches of 50 customers or so at a time using this technique. And also you can export this information as a CSV file that is usable in any spreadsheet tool like Excel. Very useful if you want to create address lists, phone lists, and so forth. You just go to the Tools menu and select Export to CSV, and it'll save it as a CSV file in a format that includes all the information in the table. You can easily edit that file, bring it up into your favorite Excel spreadsheet or what have you, and reduce it down to just the information that you want quite easily. Before we close the topic of lists, I'll give a couple more examples. Let's go to the Jobs table. And let's find only those jobs that a particular employee did last week. This might be very interesting. You might be trying to find out how much you owe an employee for work that they did last week. We want to see what work Joe did last week. So if we enter Joe under Workers, if we go to the Date column and enter the beginning of January, and we have a list of 2 jobs that Joe did in the first week of the year. From this, we might be able to tell how much we owe Joe. There might be some some question about what work he did, when he did it, and so forth. Easy way to resolve these things. And one last example. Let's find all the carpet cleaning jobs that we did in the last 3 months and see where they're located. All right. So that's easy. Let's go to the top of the line items column and enter carpet. Line items identify the services that were sold for each job. So we have all jobs that where carpet cleaning was part of the job. And if we go to the top of the date column, let's enter 11/1 to now. So we have 62 jobs over the last 3 months, and we want to see where they're located. To do that, go under Tools and select Show Locations. Map pops up, and it shows where all the jobs were located. It also gives you a tabular list. Nice feature. So as you can see, there's ways to get just about any type of information from the tables and view it in many different ways that can be interesting and help you to solve your problems.